Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We have some technical.
Hey, everyone.
You have to bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm new at this. All right. Go ahead.
All right, so welcome to Talk It Out, everybody. Geeks, nerds, girds, everyone in between. Geeking out. Oh, Lord, what am I on today? All right. Sorry about that. Well, we're doing Geeking Out today. This is where we all kind of get together and we, geek out and talk about the culture. Anything from like RP to comic books to movies, whatever it is under the sun, we got it for you. So we're just enjoying ourselves sharing that with you guys, So I guess we'll just start with some introductions. First, we've got Julian here up in the top in the middle there. He's an entrepreneur, a writer, and he is the Charmed super fan.
Yes.
The one and only at the top of that food chain. We also have Jessa, who's over here next to me. She is a fantasy writer. She's a maiden of medieval fantasy by herself. You know, that's all her expertise, if you can. And then she's a huge Buffy stan as well. So Buffy's like the 90s, so bringing back the 90s for us. Well, actually, so is Charmed, so we're all good.
Yeah.
Rakia, we also have Rakia up here. She's a social media manager. She's also a superhero fantasy geek herself, and then also happens to be a Buffy stan.
Yes.
So Buffy's taking over here. Then she's got a little bit too much love. And then we also have Chris Steele. He is a comic book fan, a comic book geek. He's also an anime fan, and then he's an X-Men mutant. That's probably his claim to fame over there. Which means that he's probably excited for something we're talking about a little bit later. And then you've got me and myself. I am a high fantasy geek myself. I'm a gamer in other respects, an artist, and then I'm a huge Wheel of Time fan. So anyone who's up,
never heard of Wheel of Time. I'm sorry.
It's so crazy to me. I bet most fantasy buffs, I feel like, know exactly what Wheel of Time is. So if you're up there with me, you're my people. Yeah. So also I want to remind you all that we're doing this obviously live. We're on Facebook Live and then YouTube Live. So if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, you let us know. You know, we'll try and address as many of those as we can. But I guess we'll kind of just kick things off with something a little bit more current event and stuff. So I'd like to ask the panel if there's anything that they want to talk about, but I'd like to start with, I'm kind of, okay, actually, well, Jerry, I know, has something particular. I'm going to start with something though. So I'm really excited that Legend of Korra is coming to Netflix, by the way, on August 14th. Yes. I'm really, really excited. So, and then, because not only is it overlapping with Avatar: The Last Airbender, so you'll be able to actually watch The Last Airbender and then Legend of Korra along with it. You know, it'll just give you the whole experience altogether. So I'm really excited about it. That, and like, I haven't seen Legend of Korra in kind of a while. I am an internet pirate, so like I used to just watch it online, probably for free when I shouldn't have. So, and it's been a while since I've been able to do that. Like, I haven't like gone looking for it in like a year or two. So now it's become a little bit harder to do. So I'm like, well, it's good it's coming out on Netflix, because then I don't have to feel like, you know, I don't have to feel like a misdemeanor trying to steal it from the internet instead.
I'm just glad.
But other than that,
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just want to say, I'm just glad that The Legend of Korra and Avatar are being brought to Netflix to give it like new life, because that movie. Okay.
What movie?
What movie are you talking about? There is no movie.
Because I feel like after this, they'll actually maybe actually do. I really want to see a live action version of Avatar. I just don't. I want it to be like as awesome as or more awesome than the freaking TV show, and that movie was not hitting it.
Well, if Netflix does it, I don't want them to F it up like they did Death Note. So that's all.
Yes, that was not as good as I wanted it to be.
Death Note, educate me, please.
Good. Oh, we're gonna have to do a whole anime episode. So I mean, we'll educate you on the anime episode.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
But Death Note is an anime. It's really good. And then Netflix did a live remake, and it was terrible. So I don't want them to do that. But if they could make a live remake that was freaking awesome, right, then I'm all on board. Or anybody, whatever. It doesn't have to be Netflix.
Yes, I know. I saw the trailer for this movie. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch it.
Death Note?
Yeah, I saw a trailer for it.
It's fun to watch, but if you're like a hardcore anime, like into the anime, you're gonna hate it. Like my sister was just like, no, it's not.
This is not worth it.
They don't. I think it's hard to translate anime into live action film anyway. Because every time I've heard about them doing that, the fans are always disappointed. Like, what's that? Dragon Ball
I saw
Z.
the Full Metal one. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Mm-hmm. Full Metal had one that came out recently. Attack on Titan, I think, had one recently as well. They're actually doing they're like starting this trend of putting anime into live action lately.
It's weird. I mean, like
and they're always weird.
because I love anime for what it is. I love the animation, and so then when you try to translate that into real life, it's weird, it's different, but whatever. But I am excited also about Korra. Yeah.
No, definitely.
Have they put
Absolutely.
it on like free streaming services before, but then they take it like right off? It's like every time I go to try to watch it, thinking that it's somewhere like for free, it's like not there anymore. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, I hear that. I mean, it was on Nickelodeon for a while, but it just has a little bit more adult theme, so I think they had taken it off of there, just because Nickelodeon's trying to disassociate with that kind of a thing. So then they were on. Well, no, actually they were on TV, and then they moved it to online because the themes were too adult. That's what it was. So they moved it off of the actual Nickelodeon network and just left it on their Nickelodeon website. And you can watch it online there instead. And then they took it off, I guess, like not too long ago. But they kept the Last Airbender for longer, which makes sense just because it targeted a younger audience. Whereas Legend of Korra was like that same audience that they first captivated, like older now. So like they were able to do different themes and stuff.
They were keeping the same audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Nickelodeon's been getting a lot of their stuff on Netflix lately, so I mean, that must have been part of the deal.
Part of the deal. And then it's also probably because also they're losing a lot of Disney stuff too, because Disney, their kids selection and all of their everything that was on Netflix, as soon as it's over, they're gonna migrate it over probably.
That's actually my question. So is that what's because what I'm really interested to see is the Jessica Jones, the Daredevil, the freaking Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I'm wondering if they're going to translate to if they're going to not translate but transfer to Disney Plus because they canceled them on Netflix. Mm-hmm. But if you watch the end of Iron Fist and if you watch the end of Luke Cage and if you watch the end, maybe not Jessica Jones, but those two and the Punisher, they were definitely not done. They weren't wrapped up at all.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I also read this thing recently that. Oh, go ahead. Go.
No, I was hoping that with Disney Plus on the horizon that they would start transferring that stuff over because they were getting rid of all of the Marvel stuff, or at least their contract with Netflix was ending soon. But I haven't heard much about it, which makes me sad because I love those shows.
Yeah, they were so good. Daredevil was so good.
Were they Netflix produced? No.
Yes.
Okay. So then that's what I heard.
But they were in fitting with they went along with all of the stuff that was in the movies because in the TV shows when they referred to the event, that was basically when the aliens came out of the sky in the Avengers. So but it was so dope because these superheroes they weren't like flashy superpowers. There was like this one scene in Daredevil where it's like a 15-minute fight scene and they're in this hallway that's like this narrow. And it is so badass. It's like bop, 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 bop. And then it's a real fight scene. Like they would get tired in the middle of it and just be panting. And then I love stuff like that because it makes you feel like you're actually in some real stuff and it's not so fantasy. I love it.
I'm excited about Black Widow. Yes. The movie.
Excited but sad at the same time.
Sad at the same time because God dang it, I cried so hard.
Oh man. I could not. I could not.
I mean, spoiler alert, sorry.
She didn't really spoil nothing. She could have had a miscarriage. She
had a miscarriage, and that's what happened.
I'm sorry if that was offensive.
No kidding. That's the only thing. She's not dead at all. Anyways, but I'm excited about that movie. I think it would be awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to. Go ahead.
No, I was going to continue with things they were excited about. Miss Jessa, her book just released.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes. Congratulations.
Very proud of her.
I'm very proud too. I actually got to read a little bit of both of her books, and an upcoming book and the one that she just has out right now. They're actually really, really good. So
thanks.
Go get them.
We did the live reading on Saturday, and it was really fun. So Thank you. I really appreciate you plugging that because it's been a long time, but it's about a witch. So very much in our wheelhouse here. But yeah, it's really fun. So sold like 28 books in the first in the pre-sales. So it's really cool.
You can get it on Amazon and Kindle.
And Books a Million.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so then also I was gonna say, really fast because I was gonna circle back to the whole Netflix thing and how they cancel stuff. I had read the other day that they only are putting out like the first 2 seasons of most of their shows because that's when they can catch new subscriptions. And then afterwards, they will choose to renew it, but they don't really have as much priority and as much investment after 2 seasons, just because the first 2 seasons are enough to actually like gain new subscribers, which is really what they're looking for in the end. Yeah, which is kind of a shame.
Right.
So I don't know how many seasons those other ones have been running for, but yeah, you gotta just keep that in mind. That you gotta make a stink if you want any more seasons of anything in particular. You know what I mean?
They're really like bad at advertising like their new shows, or at least shows that have like a decent following. So like,
yeah,
I think that's
one of the other ones.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Umbrella Academy like just came out with the new episodes, and to be honest, I didn't like hear anything before that. You know what I mean? Like none of the weeks leading up to it were like, oh, this is going to be coming out or anything like that. I've only gotten that for Legend of Korra. There was none whatsoever. And I'm kind of really excited for it. I don't know if you guys anyone watches Umbrella Academy at all? Okay. Yeah. So I'm really excited for it because I enjoy how they write it in the same way, in the same fashion, I suppose, as Watchmen. You know, it's a little bit more dark. It's a little bit more real. They take a lot of the glamour out of the superhero part, and I kind of really enjoy that, you know, because it brings it a little bit more down to earth for the rest of us, you know, as we're watching it. Because like these are regular people with regular lives still, you know, and it's like, you know, every hero's story, they become the superhero, and then suddenly all their regular person problems kind of just fall to the wayside. But it's like I feel like it would just get more complicated. So I'm excited for that one as well.
Yeah, they kind of did the poor like advertising for like Sense8, so like that one kind of falls into our realm. But like there was a really good hype for it, at least as far as I saw, like on Twitter and stuff. But like they didn't advertise it, and then like they pulled it, and then they decided to do like one more thing for the fans, and then that's it. So like I'm kind of iffy on Netflix's like advertising of shows.
Yeah, I think it's their business model that kind of just does it for them. You know, they're just trying to get as much new content as they can to kind of catch new people. But it's like, oh, there's so many new shows. Just finish the ones you have. You know, let's go with that. But I guess it's the business model on that one. Also, I was gonna say, on another geek spectrum, just totally random, that I'm kind of excited about, but they're doing a musical for Hidden Figures that I'm excited to. Yeah, I just saw that like yesterday, the other day, something like that, and I was like, what? This is kind of different. It's still, I guess, yeah, like in the theater geek world, I guess it would be really nice, you know, because I guess it's as long as it comes out with the type of success that, let's say, Legally Blonde did for musicals, at least.
And you're talking about a live stage production, right?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to stuff like that, because I remember when they first said they were going to do a musical for The Color Purple, I was like, that's horrible. Why would they do a musical for The Color Purple? But then it was amazing.
I mean, Cynthia,
I didn't see how the story. I didn't see how the story would translate into a musical, because when I think musical, I think freaking Oklahoma and freaking Crazy for You.
I knew you were gonna say that.
But like, so for me, I'm like, when they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it that way, I'm like, okay, cool. But I think, I don't know, I go both ways on that, and this is a whole different conversation. But I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna move on. I get tired of Black representation always being about being Black and overcoming racism, because even though that is something that is a part of being Black, it's not the only thing that our lives are about. So it's frustrating to, once again, instead of creating a whole new piece of art, and putting a lot of money behind it that shows Black people doing all the billion other things that we do. They're going to make a remake, no less, of another story about Black people. It's like that's the only story that y'all feel like we have to tell, and they feel like it's a favor. Like, here, you guys have this. It's what you want to hear, right? It's like, no, like,
No.
you're nerds. We want to see shit blow up too. We want to see people fighting monsters and the same stuff y'all want to see. Like, we know we have to struggle. We do it every day. I just have to say my little piece.
No, it's true though. I agree because it does feel a little hollow in that way. It's like, oh, we're gonna make a new musical, but it's gonna be about the same story. But I think that's just really the problem with
I actually want to write a musical
Black stories
for the Queen. I want to do this so bad. I want to write a musical for Beyonce. I already have the plot in my head. Yes, because I think if there's one thing that she hasn't done that she really needs to do, and that she would murder Broadway.
Murder.
She would be like, nobody would be able to play that part because she's going to be dancing it and singing it. Just boom, bop, bop the whole time. I have the plot in the back of my head, but it's like totally trippy fantasy stuff. It's like, they're
Just
not
like
really.
yeah, it's trippy fantasy stuff. It's not at all about like it's something that like any person could play. It's not like it has to be a Black woman that plays it, but it's something that's just fun and different that we don't get to see, that geeks are gonna love because it's me doing it. And that like I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit, but don't tell nobody. There are 5 people that's watching right now. I see it as like have you ever seen Midsummer, the play? The forest aspect with Titania and Oberon. Like I'm kind of thinking something like that, but a musical. Not necessarily that story, but something like Wood Nymphy.
Okay.
So you want Beyonce in some Renaissance clothes?
No. The Wood Nymphs side of it, not the lover side of it. Because in Midsummer there's the whole side of the lovers, but then there's the side of the king and the queen of the forest.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, I forget the details of it, but anyway, when we did it at my school, they had like this costume, and I'm thinking of that costume in my head, but something that's foresty. I don't know, maybe not. I'm getting some negative feedback right now. I feel like
no, not at all. I'd love to see her in something like that, honestly, and her on Broadway would kind of kill it. Like, I think that would be a great place for her talent. It's a great place to showcase her talent, at least. Because she's a dancer, she's a singer. She's maybe not the absolute strongest singer, but she doesn't have to be. She knows her range. Stop. She is a very strong singer. Is she the strongest singer? No, I didn't say she wasn't strong at all. I just said that she's not like the strongest singer. You know what I mean? So like that isn't her only showcase. She doesn't stand there at the mic and just sing because that's all she has to do. No, she has to dance a little bit because she has to give you a little more.
Hit you with this real quick. Julian's about to get his email flooded from me tonight.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, but you're not going to cast Jennifer Hudson in the same show because obviously, like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's people who technically don't need to do more.
First of all, they could totally be in the same show. I think that already happened.
I mean, they did.
They have,
and they both staged her vocally.
Stage her vocally. They sing differently. Jennifer Hudson can't run the way Beyonce can run.
But the thing is, though, Effie White is completely different character than Dina. Effie White's supposed to be able to blow.
She is singing.
Right. Dina's not supposed to be able to do like Effie White can. That was the point.
Right. I know.
I just think that in raw talent, it just. Okay, so the point here is that she would kill on Broadway because it would allow her to use the talents that she does so well, and it'll allow her to showcase all of that. The singing and the dancing at the same time. Her acting, to me, isn't the best. It is good, but to me, I always feel like I'm seeing just Beyonce being Beyonce as X and Y.
Anyone who's watching, do y'all feel like?
Do you guys hate? But okay, so my and then the only reason why I say that is because we don't actually know who Beyonce is. She's always acting. That's what I mean. She's like, anytime you see her, it's an act. Yes, Beyonce's a pageant girl through and through. She has almost never revealed her true self to anybody in public. I am sure of it.
And you know what I mean? She's her music. Some people don't have to showcase them. I think the beautiful thing about being an artist is you don't have to show. You can reveal a lot about yourself in your art. People just aren't looking for it there. They want celebrities to they want celebrities to be these that just vomit their business all the time instead of just letting their art express and we're all artists too. We should know that better than anybody else. There's certain stuff I know as an author, as a writer, when we're writing our fantasy stuff, sometimes we're using maybe a superpower or maybe using something like that to tell something that that is a weakness of ours that we wish we had. You just have to dig into her art. She definitely reveals a lot about herself through her art.
Particularly late.
I agree.
Particularly late.
I agree with that. But that's not what I mean, though. I just mean that, like, in face, whenever she shows face, it's always the Beyonce face, you know? It's kind of like, to be honest, it's kind of like Oprah. You never see Oprah in a bad moment. No one's even allowed to speak about Oprah in a bad moment. Like, if you know her like that, you know? It's like, there's just always that air of, I have to kind of be perfect in the public light. That is the vibe that I get from her. And I get that even in her acting, which is my point there. It's like, it seems like it's very... always putting on airs in a way.
Beyonce has a persona. She's always got a persona. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You know, right. So I feel like that. So like her acting is good. It's just not. I would like to see her break through the Beyonce persona so that we can just see her act. You know, without feeling like it's Beyonce in there somewhere.
Have you ever seen Cadillac Records?
Yeah.
You've seen Cadillac Records?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. That's what I'm saying. She does good. I'm not saying that she doesn't do bad. I just think that to put her on the acting scales, like let's say Meryl Streep or something. I just don't see it because I don't. Yeah, but why
would you ever compare a person who's done 5 movies to Meryl fucking Streep?
Well, okay, that's not.
Why would you do that?
Right,
okay, fine. That was a bad comparison.
I'm let it go.
Nonetheless, listen. I'm gonna get enough from the Beehive later. So my point here is that I think it's a really good place for her because she'll be able to shine in any way. She'll be able to like play to her strengths, which is like which is more of a theatrical performance versus it just straight up singing or something. You know, so I think it'll be really good for that. I don't even remember how we got here. Oh, but yeah. So then, we were talking about the Hidden Figures musical. That's what that one was. But still, I'm excited for it just because like the story at least itself is also something that I'd like to. I like that they are supporting. But you're right. They could do more original content. At least if we're going to talk about like mostly Black driven stories. Okay, so beyond that one. So we were talking about Umbrella Academy. The other one was New Mutants. I'm a little bit excited about. Oh yeah, New Mutants. I'm a little bit excited about as well. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it, but I haven't had time to like sit down and watch it. Has anyone seen it?
Not yet.
What is it?
I don't think it's out yet. Is it? New Mutants is out.
The trailer is out. The trailer's out.
Oh, the trailer is out.
They're doing Comic-Con online right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, I was more of like got more of the article side of it, so I didn't actually watch the trailer itself. But it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a horror film X-Men setting, so it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? And it kind of brings you back to Umbrella Academy and then Watchmen, how they're doing a lot of like these comic book things, and actually Dark Knight as well. But they're giving everything like that darker spin, which
like
is.
Guys. Did you guys see The Guys?
I've never seen that one. That's on Hulu, isn't it, or something?
That was on Amazon Prime. It was
oh, that's what it is.
The Boys.
The Boys. That's what.
I'm excited about The Boys coming back next month. Season 2 is comes out September 4th. I want to say.
Oh, that one was dork. It was dork.
So
I've never seen The Boys though. There are superheroes as well, I believe.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of Hancocks.
They're very flawed.
It's not like Hancocks. It's like if superheroes existed right now and they were kind of used as like weapons or protectors. It's very political. Like different countries can like bid on having a specific superhero like protect them, and it's all just this very kind of business political structure. So it's just very interesting to see it in that kind of light.
And it shows them. It shows them as very, flawed. Well, I mean, most of them are flawed people, like super flawed. but people, they're people. They just have, superpowers.
Powers.
Yeah. But that's what I kind of like about that. I like that they give them their flaws and they kind of highlight them in a way, because it's like that's my point. They're taking the glamour out of the superhero and they're just kind of bringing them a little bit more down to earth. And like, and even that kind of a plot, it's so obvious. It's not obvious, but it's expected almost. You know what I mean? Like in today's world, if like we actually had superheroes, what would we do with them? And in America, we would capitalize them somehow. You know what I mean? We would make them into some kind of an income. Otherwise, what purpose do they have in their existence? You know? Yeah. So it's like it's kind of cool to see those things. So then you can kind of play with those different themes that normally you wouldn't be able to in the glamorized version of it, or at least like they'd just be fighting it in the glamorized version of it. You know, those things would still be there, but it wouldn't really be happening to those superheroes. It'd be happening to somebody else. You know, and then the superhero is the one to save the day. There's a little bit of a disconnect sometimes between like the superhero and then their own cause when it's like the glamorized version of it, I think, than these nitty gritty ones where we can kind of see like what drives them a little bit more, what affects them, what actually, you know, what fears and things they actually have. Like it's nice to see things like that. I enjoy that kind of a theme. But yeah, New Mutants is supposed to be like that. Is that a movie? Because my thing is I'm pretty sure it's a series, but I have the feeling it's a movie. For New Mutants.
It's a movie.
No, for New Mutants is a movie? Is a movie?
It's supposed to be. It's going to be the last movie that Fox. It was recorded, I think, before Dark Phoenix, but then when Dark Phoenix didn't do well at home, I mean, in the box office, then they decided to postpone it. But now it's the last movie that Fox has in the Mutant X-Men world. So after this, but I think it is a movie. Sorry. So what I read basically said that, okay, they're going to try their best to leave it like ambiguous about certain characters and certain links to other X-Men things, because they might want to tie this in to Marvel if it does well at the box office. Because, you know, Marvel ain't having it if they ain't bringing in them books, baby, okay?
Right.
We need that cash, and I need it.
That's true. Although, that was the thing, because I think I was reading it, and it's supposed to be releasing at the end of the month, at the end of August, I think is what it was supposed to be. Or something was coming out like into the box office at the end of August, and that is okay. So I mean, we're kind of going to a different thing, but I don't expect theaters to be open at the end of the month. Is that just me, or at least not across the board?
Maybe not everywhere, but
it might be Amazon Prime where you can buy a pass to actually like rent the new movie. So they might try to do ticket sales that way, which is, you know, like pay $20 and you can watch the movie for like 24 hours.
I see. Amazon Prime does that, but I feel like they all do that. No, well, not all of them, but a lot of other streaming sites, I want to say, do the same thing. But still, I guess that's the way they're gonna do it. I was surprised to see that like it was gonna be at the end of August, whatever that release date was, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I can't even like dine out. What are you talking about? Like you expect to have like movie theaters open? It's unreal. But there is that our own little superhero storyline with the pandemic going on these days. I feel like it's just so strange to think about these days when things like that are happening. But so anyway. Yeah, so New Mutants, I'm kind of excited about. That one's gonna be a good one. And then also I was gonna say, what was it? Oh no, yeah. Go ahead.
Anime fans everywhere. Inuyasha is getting a sequel.
That's the one.
Inuyasha. And
whoa, from way back in the day, Inuyasha.
I love Inuyasha. And what's crazy Inuyasha, that like when I get them, I'm just gonna get them all at one time, and I'm just gonna binge. Because Inuyasha came to me at Adult Swim.
Yeah,
I love Adult Swim.
And I never got to see the full content. Like I saw episodes. What?
I'm talking in the comments.
Oh. So I never got to see the full content of that show. Like I absorbed and soaked up Sailor Moon because it was on the same home every day when I got home from school. But Inuyasha I loved, but I didn't get to see all of it. Like I only saw a little bit.
Yeah. Same. I get like little spurts of it when I would be able to stay up late enough to watch it.
Right. No, but Sailor Moon every day when I came home from school, Toonami, thank you, hello, yes.
Right.
That's
and
I sure did.
Spell whose name wrong?
No, don't. I'm talking to myself. My bad.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I was a Sailor Moon fan myself, actually, I have to say. A little bit more than Inuyasha. I didn't mind Inuyasha, but Inuyasha was very... Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome. Like, that's like the whole thing. It's Dragon Ball Z in its own way.
I think it was so profound. One of my favorite storylines was, I forget his name, the monk with the wind hand thing.
Yeah, I forgot his name as well.
No, what's the woman with the boomerang?
Oh, the big ass boomerang! It's huge, right?
Yeah.
I always end up catching the story arc that had Inuyasha pitted against that one guy who's like a fox, maybe.
His brother?
No, it wasn't his brother. The other one. It was another guy. He was like brown or something, but he had claws and like a tail and ears. Maybe he was some kind of a cat figure. All the Inuyasha fans are like, "What are you guys talking about?"
Sango and Moroku, yes. Because Sango, they were like in. That was my favorite one. I looked it up. I had to find it.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, I was actually looking for the other one too, but
I think the sequel is starring his daughter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be following his daughter, who's supposed to be, I think, like a demon princess, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, she's a half demon
or something
princess.
like that.
Which is weird though. How is his daughter a half demon princess?
Didn't he have to be like a demon king? To be honest, I don't know how Inuyasha ended, so that's probably.
That was the whole storyline. Was Inuyasha is half demon.
Right, I remember that much.
His child would be like a quarter demon, would not?
Yeah, because Kagome is not at all. And I think they're supposed to be...
Unless something happened and she became one. I don't know.
Right. And I think one of the big reveals is supposed to be that they're going to actually talk about their mom, Inuyasha's, and his brother, like their mom. I think they're supposed to bring her up or something like that.
That's dope. You always hear about the father, but you never hear about the mom.
Exactly. You know what I mean? She was human.
They didn't have the same. But they didn't have the same mother because his brother was whole demon. He was half a demon because his mother was.
Oh, so I guess it's just Inuyasha's.
Yeah.
I guess they're gonna address her at some point, I think. Which actually kind of reminds me of Last Airbender, which I don't know if anyone has read the comics for them. But if you haven't, I would suggest it. I've only read like a couple of them, to be honest. But yeah, they have comics. Yeah, so they have comics for. There are like 5 3-part comics where they have like a book of like fire, air, and water or something like that. You know what I mean? So there's five of those, and then there's some short stories that they release on like Free Comic Book Day. So obviously, they're not full comics. Obviously, they're just shorter stories, but they still follow the whole storyline and like the different plot arcs and stuff. But as we talk about like Inuyasha's mom, I'm thinking of Prince Zuko's mom and how like in the comics, at least for Last Airbender, they address what had happened to her, because that's actually one of the biggest things. And I was gonna ask Rakia, I don't know how far you've gotten in Airbender with your kids thus far. May I ask?
Yeah, well, we've been watching off and on. Actually, I was able to watch some of it like by myself for a little bit, so we're still up on season 1. So it's
season 1 is still good.
Yeah,
season 1 is really good still. No, you got plenty of time. Yeah, season 1 is really good though. But yeah, they do some comic books that kind of fill in the gaps in between Legend of Korra. The end of Last Airbender and the Legend of Korra. They also have I think 1 or 2 that address a few parts between book 1 and 2 of so season 1 and season 2 of Airbender. But yeah, definitely get into them if you are if you're a comic book fan and you definitely like Avatar and stuff. take some time to get into that. It's worth it. I've only read a few of them, but they're really nice. Oh, and they do a few prequels too, because they do like Avatar Kyoshi and her lifetime, which is one of the previous avatars before the setting of either of the shows. Worth a try. But yeah, so along with that, I thought we would kind of move into the main topic of the evening.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There's a little bit of the bread and butter. Okay, guys, so we're going to be talking about some fan fiction today. As far as what fan fiction is, that is, I guess, a little bit up for debate. Not really, and then yes. Because for myself, I would probably say like a lot of extended universe story arcs and things, even though they're sanctioned by like the original creators of whatever content that was, to me at least, I feel like that's still fan fiction.
Excuse me, you said
the extended universe of any in particular.
Fan fiction?
To me, it feels like fan fiction because it's written usually by completely different authors, completely different writers. They're imagined, they entirely differently. They take the storyline that is originally by someone else and they make it their own. So I feel like it's just more fan fiction that's better quality and better and actually sanctioned. Versus just being what you write at home.
Can I make a disagreement to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna actually say, whatever you guys think of that, please let me know. That's just my own opinion of it, at least, of extended universes. They feel to me they feel not exactly like fan fiction, but they kind of are in their own way.
The reason I say it's not fan fiction is because, first of all, they're getting paid, these authors. Okay, look at the baby. Oh my god,
baby.
Hey, man.
I know,
hello.
Yeah, he crept up on the camera. He wanted to. No, so it's because like the creators of the fan fiction, they basically are getting paid. They're paid writers, and they're paid by the people who created this stuff, and so these storylines are basically have approval.
Well, and they're approved. Like the stories are approved by like publishers who like cross-check stuff. So like the Slayer books.
My mind immediately went to season 8 comic books of Buffy.
Yes, those are like.
That's what it is. That's what happened
in there, and it's an approved continuation that does have some of the characters from that universe. So it's not just like I'm a fan and I really want to see Buffy and Tara make out, or I want to see like Buffy and go like.
Stuff that would never happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I think that's part of what I'd like to outline as far as what fan fiction is. So then, no, keep going. So then, yeah, I get it. You don't want it to just, you don't think it's just.
I don't think it's fake stories that we didn't have like a real structure for in the actual whatever it is. So like whatever the universe might be, like. It's just, it usually feels like stuff that really wouldn't have happened in the actual show, which is why I don't really like fan fiction, because I'm a very structured person and I don't like to see like my characters doing stuff that I just know they wouldn't be doing. Yeah.
I agree because at least for myself and like the way that I see it, I don't mind fan fiction. I agree that okay, well, we'll get to that, but I agree that most of it isn't the best of quality, but I wouldn't say that all of it is the same quality either.
Because people out there, and I mean, I get what you're saying, Julian, because sometimes there's fan fiction out there that's really well done. You know what I'm saying?
It's really well done and really well written.
It's because I feel like there's two types of fans who write these. Maybe not two, but I'm gonna categorize the two. Right? There's the type of fans that do like, okay, I want this weird stuff to happen that never would happen, and I just have to write about it, like Jess is talking about. And there's other fans who are like so into the characters, they're only going to write something that is somewhere near logical. For those people, it's unfortunate because for people like me, I won't even read fan fiction. I'm gonna be honest, I won't even read it. I will not even. And please,
Okay.
if you're watching and you have read fan fiction or have written fan fiction, please let us know like what your thoughts are. Because me, like, if I start reading something, because I used to I wanted to read stuff like that too, especially after Buffy ended and Angel ended. I felt like my best friend had just moved to China, and I was never going to see him again. But I would read stuff and I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is fan fiction." Quick.
But even the gay, like the Spike and Angel fan fiction, you didn't get into.
I mean, all that maybe in some of my lonelier nights, but
but I think that's one of the problems, I guess, that they face is that a lot of fan fiction usually has a lot of, there's a few more sexual themes. Usually, there's a lot more
smut.
I don't really.
There's a little bit of smut, yeah.
They're huge. Honestly, when you talk about something like let's use Buffy because we keep going there. As those characters got older, they're gonna do that stuff. That's gonna be a part of it. But it shouldn't be all that's there because I mean, there's still these people. There's still these conflicts going. Like you can't, So I don't like for it to go too far. But when it's sprinkled in there every once in a while, I'm always down for that.
Yeah.
Darla, Drusilla, Angel, and Spike lived together for a really long time.
You know what went down.
How it happened.
Right, and they're vampire. One of them, both of them. They're both vampires, and they're vampires. Come on,
all of them.
And they kept calling each other mommy and grandmommy and all this stuff. Okay, is that as a teenager? I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those shows that every time I rewatch it, I'm like, oh.
Really? Because as an adult, that makes more sense. Because I'm like grandmommy, like those aren't quite pet names. Those aren't pet names I would use. I mean,
you have to understand kink as you get older. So I suppose that does help.
Oh Lord!
But I mean, that's the thing. So there is a lot of smut, I guess, in fan fiction. But I think that comes also from the higher demographic of people who write it.
What do you mean?
So it's usually a lot of teenagers. You know what I mean? And teenagers are teenagers are horny. It's just kind of how that works.
It's not like they're alone. It's that they're new to it, so it's just like that. But it's still. But I think there's still like. I don't know. I go back and forth. I think there's legitimacy to fan fiction because it is a way for us to get the things that we want without all the politics involved. Mm-hmm. Like, it sucks because it's like right now, like Rose McGowan and Holly Marie Combs just did a live yesterday. Now, Rose McGowan is very disillusioned and distant when it comes to doing anything in Hollywood anymore. Understandably so. And so her time when she was on Charmed was marred by a lot of
why
her
understandably so? I don't understand. Like why?
Oh, because of all of the she's the reason the Me Too movement started.
Well, not necessarily, but like as far as like Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, as far as Harvey Weinstein. Let me not say the Me Too movement, but as far as
I honestly didn't know.
Yeah, she's the one who basically was like, well, he cornered me in a room while we were promoting The Mimic. And, he assaulted her. And then she had to go to a red carpet event right after. And that was one of the first movies that she ever did. So she was kind of like, I think she's finally coming out of that. And she doesn't really want to go back to it. But all of her fans want them to do a reboot of Charm or like a reunion or something. And she's just like, I love my fans and I love my relationship with these women. But I just really don't want to do the Hollywood thing anymore. So for people like me who really want that, especially because if they did a reunion, it would somehow finally, the question never got answered why they could see Grams and Mom and they could never see Prue. So we're going to see Prue, but we might not ever see that because Rose, and that's what we want to see. We want to see Prue and Paige. So we have to write about it. We have to do fan fiction about it. I mean, and especially like me, if me or Jessa did fan fiction, you better believe, okay? But, and there's a lot of people out there just like that. If they were doing fan fiction, it's going to be great. Yeah. But go ahead.
No, because I was going to say, because as we say, like most of the writers are like teenagers, for example, or younger adults at least. It's more just them kind of sandboxing it. You know, they're feeling their way through it. They're trying to, they're learning their strengths and their weaknesses. I suppose in that way. And obviously, there's usually just a lot of smut because they're horny teenagers. So but I think that I, at least myself, have come across a few that have been very well written. You know, that are surprising. I'm sorry?
Are there some fanfic sites?
Fanfic.net.
Yeah, I think so. Fanfic.net is one of them.
And AO3.
Yeah, that's it.
I like this comment really quick. Just for the people who will listen later. I hope I'm saying this right. The N Boone says that lots of show creators and authors will imply things that people want to see, i.e. LGBTQ plus, sexual themes, etc., but not explicitly state any of those things. So people will write fanfic to explore what they didn't get to see in the show or book. And I like that because
it leaves more to the imagination. It lets you kind of delve into it yourself. And I don't think it necessarily has to be like they want you to write fanfic. I think it can also just be like they want you to like have it however you want, even if it's just while you're reading it, you're imagining kind of what's playing out.
Right. Fill in the gaps with your own brain.
That's part of the experience, though. Like, really. And that's the fun part about it. That's why we stand. That's why we geek. That's why we nerd, because something has us so deep into it. And like, if you think about anything you can nerd or stand or geek about, like Lord of the Rings, how many Lord of the Rings books could you possibly make? 1 billion, you know? A really well-built world should inspire fan fiction, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I agree.
So for me, my relationship with fan fiction was I got into it through the fanfic of fan fiction. Don't judge me. 50 Shades of Grey. Shut up. 50 Shades of Grey. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So hear me out. So I'm on maternity leave. I just had my first kid. I've read the books, and somehow I fall into fan fiction. I start reading that, and I've gotten over the 50 Shades fanfic. I've moved on. I've started to love myself. But like, it kind of like opened up the world of fandom for me in general. Yes, it did. So like after that, I started when I started watching Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
Into fanfic. And when I was watching Scandal fanfic. I was watching that.
I have never seen Scandal. I would never think to write.
Oh no! Like I've made really good friends on social media with like my favorite fanfic writers, and like they're really good writers, and a lot of them have grown. I've known some people that are able to like create really, really expound upon things that were missing in some of the shows that I loved, like Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow didn't get as many fanfic writers because after a while they messed them up. But like just different things. But like I love that's like my favorite pastime is just to sit and like look at my phone and read fan fiction. Like you think I'm not paying attention or I'm just looking at stuff on Facebook? No, I'm probably reading fan fiction. But it's just there are times where I come across like fan fiction that is like clearly this kid is it's the first time writing something. Yeah. It's nothing but smut all the way through and very little actual storyline. Yeah, and I'm just like, fine, whatever. But like some of the ones that I've read, particularly of some of my favorite ships, they've really like gone into like a really really deep into this world that I've liked to watch on the show, but I think there's parts that were missing that I really wanted. So like, for example, for those of you that are Vampire Diary fans, at the end of season 5, when, spoiler alert, if, watching Bonnie and Damon go into the other side and they end up in season 6 in this like Groundhog's Day world where like the day is repeating over and over again, like the amount of fan fiction we got
Just from that, I never
Just from
thought
that.
about that.
Yes, just from like the end of season 5, like the possibility of what could happen
In
could
them
have happened.
months,
Right.
Yeah.
And like that summer between like the end of that season 5 and season 6, there was so much fan fiction
So let me
about
ask you a
what
question.
happened.
Let me ask you a
What?
question.
Okay.
Because I never thought about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just as being an adult, as that I am at this point, not 5 minutes ago, but right now.
Yeah.
We sure?
Do you think Bonnie and Damon?
I'm a Bayman fan. So Bonnie and Damon, shit name Bayman. I'm a Bayman fan. And
Really?
yes.
I feel bad for Jessica because Jessica's like, I don't watch this show.
But like,
I don't either. I was an extra in it. I've never seen it.
Y'all have to.
I know, right?
Well, it's kind of not worth it if it keeps getting spoiled. I know what happened.
That was Jay.
For the purpose of this, we have to talk about it, so it's fun.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you really what happens because we didn't tell you anything else. I'm glad you said that though, but I just think, in my opinion, if they had found themselves in that situation, which I won't really spoil for Jessa, but
if I'm being real, I don't think I'm ever gonna watch The Vampire Diaries.
oh man, my heart just fell in my lap.
I'm sorry. I just like.
And it's funny though that we talk about smut in fan fiction, but like your regular show that you will watch religiously every week, there is something sexual every effing episode.
There's a difference between sexual and smutty.
That's true, I guess.
I think it's how it's described in fan fiction, like just like
yeah, you're right. It is a little bit more detailed.
Right.
Like the dude said, implied is always great because first of all, it's more difficult to write something that allows the reader the room to go wherever, but it's still specific enough to know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Right.
So
no, I see that. It's kind of where fan fiction fails. They're a little bit more detailed about all those things. Versus like me,
Janet Ivanovich writes these really great books. And like
which ones are you talking about?
Huh?
Which ones are you talking about?
I mean, like any of them.
Okay. I thought someone
like I was talking about her Stephanie Plum series mostly. So like she's very good at like kind of setting up like a sexual scene and then she cuts it off. Like, right. So you get to imagine what happened, but like she cuts it off. So it doesn't kind of hit like that level of like kind of romance novel. Like hearing all of the
corniness that can happen.
The first time I read one of her books, I remember being like, "Oh my God, she's a romance novelist," but no, she never went there.
Yeah,
it definitely led up to it, which I think is appropriate because they're for adults.
Yeah,
but, yeah, I agree.
We're talking about like the one for the money, two for the whatever. Yeah.
They did make movies or a movie at least.
A movie.
I feel like that
with Heigl.
I feel like it should be a TV show.
They didn't cast it well either. I liked Heigl, but I didn't really like anybody else. No offense.
I didn't see her in it.
I like her too.
Who?
The lady who played. You're gonna kill me for not. Wasn't it Debbie Reynolds played Grandma Mazer? Am I wrong?
Debbie Reynolds. I love Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds. It was Debbie Reynolds.
It was.
Who doesn't like her?
She's an American treasure.
She is a treasure. No, she was a treasure.
Was a treasure. She's dead.
Sad thing. Okay, we're still in the geekdom, but totally sad. You know what I mean? Her daughter goes, and then like a week later, she was like, "I'm done as well." And I was like, "This is really fucking sad. This is really fucking sad." Yes, her daughter is the woman of the universe of space. She is the woman of space. Carrie Fisher. Debbie Reynolds is Carrie Fisher's mom.
I did not.
Carrie Fisher being Princess Leia, the woman of the stars. Yeah.
I know. Let me tell you something.
So when Carrie went, what was that, last year, a year or two ago?
Yeah.
Debbie went like literally the week after. It was really sad.
Quick.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Revised told you to get it together.
I know she did.
Pull it together.
I didn't know. I mean, for me though, I haven't seen the last Star Wars because
okay.
My husband refuses to watch it. Yes.
Your husband refuses to watch it. Why?
He thinks that they like
he doesn't want it
screwed
to
up the
end.
entire Star Wars universe, and he hates it, and he refuses. He doesn't want to. We don't talk about it. It just
I haven't
doesn't.
seen
But
it yet either.
he assumes it's because of like reviews that he heard or what?
No, he thinks that all like the last movies have just ruined the entire Star Wars universe, and he doesn't want to.
He's all for the original 3, right? Like even the other new ones.
I loved episode 1, 2, and 3. Loved them. Now
I
didn't
did
used
as
to
well,
know
but
I didn't used to understand why people didn't like Jar Jar Binks, but then I watched it right now, and I was like, oh my god, so insane.
As an adult, he's so different. He's such a different character. Also, in episode 2, like the whole love story is like, it's such a definitely a letdown. But episode 2 is kind of like all that love story in episode 2. I was like, you could have literally changed out all of the screen time and put something else in here. Like this could have been done so much differently.
I don't know. I feel like that's what I expected in episode 2. Like you knew that they were going to be their parents, and so now you're trying to figure out how Natalie Portman is about to get impregnated by this 5-year-old little boy.
Right.
That's fan fiction right there.
That is fan fiction right there.
The relationship that they had in the first film, you needed to explain to me how you went from that to them having babies. I needed a whole movie just for that. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm cool, but I needed that whole
I saw it, but it was corny as shit, is all I'm saying. I was like, as a big Star Wars fan, it was corny. I guess.
Movie in the whole series that is like a love movie. The only one.
Yeah.
Can we have?
I interrupted you. Go ahead. You said you haven't watched the last one.
Talk to me?
Yeah, you don't remember. I totally just interrupted you.
I haven't watched the last one, but the reason I don't want to watch it is because I saw Carrie Fisher in the previews. And I was like, how did that happen? No, I'm not cool with that.
Well, it's the same way that one guy in the second movie, he's been dead a long time, but they created him.
Tarlok.
Yeah.
Tarlok, I think. General Tarlok or Admiral Tarlok, something like that.
He's not real.
Yeah.
He looks just like the guy from the previous, from like the intro.
Okay, well, but the thing with Carrie Fisher is that's her throughout the movie, though. You know what I mean? There's like maybe even in the last one.
Did they deep fake it? Is it a deep
I don't
fake?
think she filmed any of the last movie.
She filmed part of the last movie. I just think that there are
before they started filming. Someone in the audience, let us know.
I don't think it was before. I think they had already started, but certainly before it was released.
Did they like start filming like scenes or certain things like?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're because you can usually tell when they're CGI'd anyway, and like there's plenty of moments where she had that, she had the filter and the whole nine. But there's a lot of moments where I'm like, this is definitely her. Like you can tell that she's actually present in these scenes, and I think they filmed probably a few of them. And to be honest, she's not all that much in the third movie, obviously, because she couldn't really be there for filming it. So I think that's the point there. She had a limited amount of scenes as it was. Most of those scenes were actually her. They're also mostly at the beginning, so it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like she obviously didn't finish the whole way through. They probably had to change a little bit of the writing because they can't include her for the whole set of the movie, so they had to take her out when they had to. But there are parts where you can see like she's kind of CGI the way that they've been doing that with certain characters. But for the most part, pretty sure she's in it. I'm pretty sure she was there for when they started filming it. So a lot of those scenes are actually her before the end.
I assume that this is probably one series. This is probably one series. This is probably one of the series that has like the most fan fiction. I wonder what
exactly.
Series, I wonder what.
Long.
Say what?
I said it's been around for so long. And
yeah, 87 was the first one when it came out.
I would say this, Doctor Who, and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And then on top of that list, I'm probably gonna say Wheel of Time, but whatever.
If you don't go somewhere with that book that just came out,
that's been out for like 20 years. Those
is it
books,
really that old?
Yeah. Oh my god, they've been out for like the longest. I'm pretty sure.
Old.
Yeah. It's really old. I started reading them when I was like 14. That was at least 19 years ago, and that wasn't like the first book that had come out. So it was like a while. They've been out for a while. But yeah. But yes, they have a really extensive fan fiction network, I would say. But it kind of brings you back to like that whole. I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying, where extended universes are, they're paid for and they're approved, I suppose. But I still feel like they're fan fiction in their own way, because just because the spirit in which they're written is like, it's a super fan usually. It's somebody who really likes the universe and the story, and then is making their own. But then that's the other thing. Fan fiction doesn't always include like your main characters and changing like what they would or wouldn't normally do. Sometimes fan fiction just takes place within that universe that's already been created, So it's like fan fiction can still be characters that aren't even named in like in the canon of those universes, but you're still writing stories about like these characters that you basically made up that now live in this universe.
Buffy season 8 is not fan fiction.
No,
that is not fan fiction. No. That is what happened. Period. I'll put hashtag period. You know what? Since you want to.
And you know why? Because I think my main experience with fan fiction came out of playing video games. So my first fan fiction experience came out of World of Warcraft, actually. So I used to play that pretty religiously, but I was one of the RPers. I was one of the role players there. So like we kind of create our own fan fiction, but like using the universe that we're playing in and stuff. So it has its own laws and it has its own lore. Not necessarily. You don't have to. You know what I mean? You can play this game without actually being that character. You know what I mean? You don't have to live as that character. More importantly, you don't have to write or do anything extracurricular as that character. You just need to play that game as that character. Most people will play a game and they're completely disconnected from the little person who's running around the screen, versus them having like a backstory, them having a current story, them having a future story, and then interactions with other players and stuff like that. So like that's kind of that's why I guess my idea of fan fiction is a little bit different, because it almost has never been like my main characters and them doing something.
So you write fan fiction?
I do, but my fan fiction is okay. So but then there we have it though. So but my fan fiction is a little bit different. I don't really take any characters that are already established. It's more of just using the world that they've been established in, so that it just cuts out some of the world building in that way.
Only reason I make the distinction, Julian, between like extended universe and fan fiction is because you have to respect the extended universe. You have to respect it, because that is a part of the storyline. Like it's not like one of those alternate dimensions, what if this kind of thing. It is
right. They made it canon.
Yes,
like
it is canon. Absolutely. And so, and another reason that I do it is to protect that from the fan fiction that's smutty. I'm trying to find another word. You know what I'm saying? From the fan fiction it may be fun, but it's not necessarily respectful of either the main story or the extended universe. And so I just want to. The reason I make the difference is to separate those two, so that we know that we have to give honor to those stories that are like part of the canon that just weren't filmed because an actress didn't want to show up to the freaking contracts ran out or whatever it may be.
Right. Well, not only that, whenever you build a world, you can build a world for days, for years, there's only so much you're going to be able to fit into a movie or a series before it's going to spill over and continue going, especially if it's something that's popular and things like that. So,
has anyone ever had any DC or Marvel fanfic?
Never.
Honestly, never read it or come across it. Is that weird?
I don't know.
I feel like it would be one that would be.
Let me look at
that. There's nothing they haven't touched on because that universe is so big,
so extensive. Yeah, they talk about like, what if this happened? What if
it doesn't matter if someone can think it, they'll write it. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
this is true. This is true.
In the Marvel DC universe, though, there's so many alternate realities and certain dimensions already. So like they've already like
I just found out about M-Day.
M-Day?
What is M-Day?
M-Day is when the Scarlet Witch cast a spell to like, I don't know if she killed all mutants or made them like powerless, but all mutants were gone in every universe. She like went crazy and that happened. And I'm like, ooh.
Okay.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
I have never heard of that.
I just feel like for me, that's what I love about, especially the way the movies ended up. Like, not to go on a tangent, but this last movie, like, because they created like these, I think the snap happening so many times created so many different universes.
Are you talking about Endgame, the last?
Well, both of them. The Infinity War, once he did the first snap.
Yeah.
And then like even before that, him like dying, grabbing the stone, then coming back to life, that created a universe.
Okay.
Then him snapping created a universe. And then him getting his head chopped created one. Then destroying there's so many universes now, and we're gonna see them now. We're gonna see all of them everywhere. I'm so excited.
Ooh. There's definitely
I think that's part of their plan also to expand that movie.
Wait, say that again, Kia?
There's definitely a good bit of Marvel, like specifically labeled Marvel fanfic. Now, if I got into like the individual like characters, I'm sure there'd be like way more that way. But like, yeah, they're writing it.
Oh, you had the fan fiction on speed dial?
She's got fanfic.net on speed dial.
I got the app. Don't play me.
Look, she looked that up too quick.
Look,
that 50 Shades of Grey got you spun.
Look, I told you, it's on my phone. I got the app. Don't judge me.
Ricky, can I ask what was probably one of the most standout fanfics that you've ever read?
Oh.
Okay. I'll give you a second, but I'll start with mine really fast if it makes it easier.
Oh, you're asking the group.
I'm asking Ricky because I know she said that she herself has read it. And as far as the rest of the group, I feel like they don't really like it. So I'm like, okay.
Look, me and Jessa don't even get asked the question because we don't.
Well, you know what? Actually, I have one for Jessa because you said before that you happen to be a big WoW player, but I was going to find out what kind of a WoW player you were. Were you like more RP? Were you PvP, PvE?
I would not say big. I would say that my husband and I downloaded it so that we could like play together.
I
want y'all's relationship so bad.
I do too. I'm so mad about it.
Everybody I be trying to date, they're not on the nerd level. They're like, they look, well, you know what I'm saying? Once in a while, but
they're not enough. There's never enough. It's never enough.
I was a werewolf mage and
a Worgen mage.
I was like level 90, so I did get to that point.
That's not bad.
But yeah, I mean, we just went on like missions and stuff.
Okay, so it was just more for the gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, it was like for fun, you know.
A werewolf mage.
Yeah. Okay,
what would I do if I ran across a witch who could turn into a wolf?
Oh, there you go. So like,
oh my god, that'd be such a badass movie.
Oh yeah.
If it was written well. If it wasn't written well, that would
be Have you guys seen that?
As long as it's not fan fiction, it'll be okay.
I mean, so I can answer the question, Julian. But since you asked Rakia the best she's ever, let me say the worst I've ever read. The first time I ever read fan fiction, aka the only time I've ever read fan fiction. I was in like 8th grade, 9th grade, somewhere. Maybe it was 9th grade. It was probably more toward junior year of high school. And it was Charmed. There was this website I used to go to where they would have spoilers. And I would read all the spoilers before the episode. And sometimes I remember somebody going, if you know what's gonna happen, aren't you gonna like not watch the episode? I said, do you know who I am? I'm gonna just that's the part right there. Anyway, on that site they had fan fiction. So one week they didn't have the spoilers up. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll get my fix this way. Horrible decision. Horrible decision. It was so bad. It was like the writing was bad, but that was a different thing. Just like what the characters was doing. It's just like Justice said, like I was like, they would never do this. They would never do this.
Yeah. I think that's one of the big things. You have to have like have really good grasp of like the lore if you really want to write good fan fiction or anything like that. And I'll get to that in a hot second, but continue. Not to cut you off.
Rakia, because somebody is waiting for your response.
Oh yeah.
Because I spread the news to my friends on Twitter, my fandom friends. Okay, so right now it's still happening right now. It's just she updates sporadically. So like I was talking about, it was Vampire Diaries 1, post season 5, and it doesn't follow the season 6, but Bonnie and Damon are in this other world, or called a pocket world. And so what was so great about it is that it's them going from people that tolerated each other to like eventually like getting married, but like it was so well like spread out.
Really?
It was the slowest of slow burns. Because like the time period was like over a span of 12 years. And like you can
that sounds dope.
It is. And so
yeah,
like,
it's a lot of content.
Yes, and it was like it had the essence of what the characters are, because the characters are pretty like antagonistic with each other.
Yes.
But like eventually by this point, like they have an understanding and they kind of have a friendship where they're on a certain level where like no one else can really get to. But like you could see this slow progression of them becoming like friends that really care about each other and eventually falling in love. And next thing you know, they're married, and then snap, they're back to their regular timeline with their friends and trying to figure out how to go on.
Sounds so freaking cool.
I have to send you the link, but like
I might not watch. I'm reading it, but I want to read it. I mean,
you gotta get a little bit. But like, I love how this author just had it. It just wasn't hop right into
right.
Just this thing, because for most people, this pairing is a crack ship for them. So like, it's not plausible to a lot of them. But it was like such a good build up to where like
I could see how that could actually happen. I thought that was what was gonna happen actually. When
if you were going by like the actual books, it should have happened, but because
really it happens in the books.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but because of certain things and people wanting like a certain love triangle to keep happening, it didn't happen that way.
Oh, because they still wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm so mad at them because it would have been so much better if that did happen. Because the thing about it, okay, I feel so bad for Caroline and Stefan. Yeah, so bad. But anyway, that would have been much more interesting to me if they had started something romantic. Personally.
And so, but the thing is, like, the author is able to really like get the essence of those characters and their dynamic and build something realistic in the story. So like it's called like You'll Know I'll Adore You Till Eternity. It's really great. It's like I've really come across yes. So really come across some writers that can really dig deep into the story and build like a really great world based off of the original content and just take it to a next level, to the point where like, man, I wish you guys would like actually write some of this real stuff, because there's some things like that the original stuff is missing that could really push the story forward. But yes, that was my favorite fanfic right now.
I love that, Rakia. I love that.
I agree. I feel like it's very much like
that to me.
Right? You got really excited though.
Like I might need to read some of this.
Right? Maybe only the ones that come recommended. We'll start you off with that. But I think that's probably one of like the turnoffs.
Are they like in book the fan fiction? Does it come in like a book or what?
No, so like they'll post a chapter every once in a while. It depends on the person that's writing it. Like some people are more consistent than others.
Right.
One's probably like 30 chapters in, I feel like. I can't remember. But
That
like
sounds fun.
But it's
That
been
actually sounds
going-
like something I might want to do.
But like this person's been writing it for years. It's not so consistent with posting. But like when she does, oh my gosh, you gotta stop what you're doing.
So
and
it's
read
good.
it.
Oh, is that good?
For me, it is. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've come across a few that are like that do that for me. One of the main ones actually was a different video game, and the fan fiction that came out of that one, Final Fantasy 14. I don't know if anyone's a player. A Realm Reborn. Probably not. So anyway,
It has Final Fantasy. So
wait, which one?
I play
What
Kingdom Hearts, so it has Final
King of Hearts, yes.
Yeah, well, the Kingdom Hearts, I think Kingdom Hearts, at least the newer installment, probably has some kind of Final Fantasy 14 crossover than some of the other ones, than the older ones, obviously. But anyway, so it's another MMO. It's a lot like World of Warcraft or something like that. So
What does MMO stand for?
Massive multiplayer online,
So massive what?
multiplayer online video game, something like that. Yeah.
What's the difference between an MMO and
Because a regular an MMO is usually kind of like an RPG on a grander scale, like a role-playing game. It's like basically. So you'll play it by yourself, but instead you're laying in this world with other people, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Which is why I at least my experience with fanfiction and especially in that realm has been really nice, just because again, it's like original stories. It's a little bit less of the characters that you have grown to love doing things that you might not expect, or just doing things that like you're just not really comfortable with as far as like the universe and the way that the plotline normally progresses. Instead, it's people making up their own stories of characters that exist within that same world. But one of the ones that I had come across that was actually really good, it was for Final Fantasy 14. But it did a really good job of moving alongside the plot line of the video game. So I guess like the plot line of the story. So it like moved alongside with that versus actually just being a part of it, So it's a little bit less of your main characters and all of their conflicts and then being involved in those conflicts. It's just more of like how those conflicts have rippled out and how it's affecting their characters that exist in their world in their own different statuses, which is different from the main characters of the main storyline, So it's just how that it affects them and things. But one of them was just really, really, really well done. It was about like this girl character that she had, and her grandmother, and those were like the two main characters that she had written about, and like her grandma's interaction with her, and just the whole nine. It was very, very well written, which is why I say like, oh, fan fiction, it's a little bit more of a diamond in the rough kind of field for a lot of fan fiction. And
I agree.
you're not always going to be able to find something right off the bat that you like, and if anything, you might not even find it in that first week of like searching for it. So that it's something that we have to, at least for fan fiction, something to consider, at least for its validity. You gotta remember also that like the community surrounding them they're not really there to critique or anything like that, most people who are reading fan fiction, they're more exempting, because it's more of like, if you pass a fan fiction that you don't particularly like, you're not going to say, oh no, you should improve this is how your writing could be better. No, you're just going to pass it by and move on to the next one until you find the one that sticks. Versus most of the time when anyone like posts things like this, they're going to put them into different forums where they're likely to receive some kind of critique on their actual writing and how to develop it better, how to develop the story better and things. So I feel like they kind of get like a pass in that way, and that's why they don't really improve as much. So it's always like looking for the good one amongst like all the smut and the stupid story arcs and things like that. But they're good ones in there. You just have to kind of keep an eye out for them.
Okay.
But yeah, that was one of mine. There was one other thing that there was a bug that I had to get out of midair. I don't know where it came from, but it was like, bitch,
Obama,
you're not here.
Y'all see Obama got that mosquito in the interview.
Sorry, I don't know how that, and it got him too, by the way. But poop. What was I gonna say though? Oh, but then yeah. So then I guess we're kind of coming to the close. So really fast, one of the last things I wanted to ask everybody was, what would you like to see?
We have a question.
Oh, we do.
Sorry, we have a question actually.
Oh, we do. I don't know that, but
Reggie Teddy Rogers. He asks. He says, "Don't know if this was asked already, but do any of you write any fan fiction?"
Julian.
I think I'm the only one. Okay, so
3 writers in the group, but he actually specifically writes fan fiction.
I know. Well, okay, so that's the thing. A lot of my writing has been more in the realm of fan fiction because I haven't taken the time to write an original story. Not that I don't have my own like rummaging around in here, but as far as like actual writing, because like I would consider myself, I suppose, an aspiring writer in my own way, but most of it has been with fan fiction, to be honest, just because it has taken out the responsibility of doing the world building, and instead I can just do more of my research in the lore of this world that's already here, and how are my characters going to fit into it.
Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
Do you have it posted anywhere, published anywhere?
I do and I don't. Okay, so
tell us where we can find it.
Okay, well, where you can find... Okay, that's the thing. I'm probably going to have to... Okay, so my writing... Because it's fan fiction, and because fan fiction gets like the rep that it gets, I am a little bit nervous about putting it out in too many public forums. The ones that I do have it on, I know I'm going to have to dust it off and bring them out, which I will. But for now, I think really the only places that you can find them are on like the RP forums for World of Warcraft, and then for... Final Fantasy 14. I've got a number of things on over there.
So we're literally gonna make you post your.
I'm gonna get you links. Because what I'll do is we'll put them in the YouTube channel. We'll put the links in for it. Guys, don't read too much into it. It's so bad. It's not so bad, but it's whatever. It's not bad. It's probably all right. It's probably okay. But I mean that's just the thing. So fan fiction is it's a little rough. But so then I had a question for everybody, and that was what would you like to see as fan fiction? Just like what fan fiction would you be more apt to rifle through if you knew that it was going to be if it was all pretty much good? Let's say which fandoms would you appreciate fan fiction from? I'll start. So I will. I appreciate fan fiction that comes out of Wheel of Time. Of course, we're always gonna go back to Wheel of Time. There's 2,300 named characters in this book series. Like,
really?
No, yeah, man. It is epic. So it's like there are so many different story arcs that you can take. There's so many different. They did a really good job of wrapping up most of the loose ends, but I wouldn't mind seeing fan fiction of certain ones just to kind of see where they go at the end of it. Okay. That I would say that, and then probably fan fiction. No, let's stick with that one. I'll stick with Wheel of Time for now. Anyone else? Rikia? Oh.
I can't necessarily think of anything else that I want to read in fan fiction. I'm kind of stuck in my realm of certain shows that I'm okay with, and even then it's really more of just like stories that have already been established, and they're just kind of the writers are just kind of working their way through them.
They've come to their fruition the way that they're supposed to. Because I guess it's really more of a question of, is there anything that you would like to see wrapped up that you didn't see in the original content? that maybe fanfiction can help to explain.
I think I have something. I'm sorry. Did you answer already? I don't know if you answered.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm trying to think of something because I don't like fan fiction. But the question you just asked made me think of something. You said something that wasn't wrapped up in the last episode.
Yeah.
I would like to see fan fiction of Sleepy Hollow.
Yes.
If everything after season 1 didn't happen.
Right. Like
nothing after because to me, that show, the way season 1 ended, I was like, that's the best season of anything in that genre I have ever seen, period. And so how do we never get the other 3 horsemen? Like all of that stuff. That's what I would want to see. I would want to see fan fiction taking place like after season 1 and just fixing everything that they did wrong about that series afterward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like for them to do an overhaul of Sleepy Hollow. Like anything
I could even stand a reboot for that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of over the reboots, but if y'all got Abby and so back together and just say, you know what, we're gonna just do it. We're gonna do a redo. Mm-hmm. I'm down for a redo.
I just it's got to be. There has to be some different showrunners because the way they did Nicole Bahari.
I don't. I have to research why she left that show because I didn't know. I'm assuming it was for a reason because nobody gives up a job that well unless there's a reason.
They were kind of like pushing her out and like she would get sick and like they would want her to keep working, whereas like her co-star would get time off. Like they didn't treat her well, and they were just like pushing some of the characters that we were really loving out of the way. So, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Chris or Jessa? Because I was actually gonna say another one, but go ahead.
Okay, I got one.
I don't know mine.
I would probably read some fan fiction, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard this. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the reboot got canceled.
Chilling Adventures?
It did.
Yeah.
And I responded really well to that show. Like I really liked it, and I thought that it was that they were doing some really cool things, and so I would like to see an expansion or someone expound on that universe because I love me some witches. Witches are my shit.
No, I think it's canceled after the next season comes out.
Oh, okay. Wait, so there's a third season that might be out.
I think you're gonna get a new. I think there's one more section.
There's one more season,
and it might actually wrap up nicely. So,
but I don't think that was meant to be a long-standing series. I think it was always supposed to be. Because when it first came out, they called it like episode 1 or book 1 or something like that, which made me think that they were gonna book in.
Part 1, yes.
We have a question from the audience, which I should be able to answer, but I can't.
I answered for him.
Okay, great. I don't know of any fanfic for Charmed, even though I'm like the biggest Charmed fan. The only
probably is, yeah.
But I don't like the fan fiction because to me, like, I don't want nobody to mess up my Charmed. And sometimes, Charmed fans be getting too excited and I'll be like, no, that can't happen. So, but we should talk, Reggie, and I'll let you know about all the Charmed goodness. But where did you say the site was? AO3?
Yeah, it's called AO3.
AO3.
Okay.
It's like an archive of something. Okay. Yeah, so those are the 2 sites.
And what about you, Jessa?
Yeah.
It was like published quality, like tested, and everyone had gone through it and made sure that it was 100% okay and followed all the rules. I would like to read some more of the history of like Angel, Darla, Spike, and not for the like,
that's pretty cool.
But just because like I feel like they covered so much history together and they just went through so many different times.
Yes.
And I think that those experiences would be so interesting from their point of view. So
the OG trio, yes.
Oh, to answer Reggie's question, there's like 14,000 fanfics of Charmed on fanfic.net. So
that is a lot.
Wow.
Yes.
There's plenty. There's a lot to go through.
Huh? Oh.
Do they rate them on the site? Like, can people rate so you know which ones to?
Yeah, well, people, it depends on like how many people like subscribe to it, and then like, A lot of people can write reviews, so it really depends.
So maybe we'll do an episode where we all go read a fanfic, a highly rated one, and then we come and we discuss it. That might be fun.
A fanfic reading. Oh,
That would
Lord.
be pretty cool.
Literally a fanfic reading, because it might turn
Yeah.
out to be one. Okay.
That sounds like a wine and read. That sounds like a wine and read.
I know. I thought it'd be a good idea. Actually, we can, we'll put it together one of these days.
So I just wanted to say,
But yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna try and close, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
No, I
you
wanted to shoot it over to Rakia really quick because she's gonna be our lead next week.
All right. So next time we'll be talking about some of our favorite cult classics. So like a little preview for me is Beetlejuice. So I'll probably start getting into that a little bit. So join us next time.
That'll be fun.
So 2 weeks from now at 8 p.m.
2 weeks from now at 8 p.m. Yeah.
Yes, Monday. Not this Monday, not this upcoming Monday, but the Monday after, and at 8 p.m. And you can find us on Facebook Live and YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Julian, do you want to?
All right. Well, it was like a sentence, I guess. But I guess that's it for fan fiction. I was going to say also, anyone who's watching, definitely leave comments. Let us know let us know who, the few of us who will read it, what your favorite fan fictions are, because we will totally, I'll go check them out and stuff. I would appreciate that. Also, if you are a WoW RPer and or a Final Fantasy 14 RPer, definitely leave me a comment. I will read your shit any day. Like, I love that stuff. So it's right up my alley. So, I guess that's really it. So otherwise, this is Geeking Out, guys. We did some fan fiction this week. It's always been a pleasure. It's been a nice time sharing this with everyone, with our panel as well. And we will see you, like Rikia said, in 2 weeks, Monday at 8 on YouTube and Facebook Live. All right, guys. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Julian.
I was gonna say, if anybody wants to plug any of their social media, do it now. Bad Juju at Instagram. Also keep an eye out. I'll be doing some artwork as well. Rakia, I know she's got her social media. Yeah.
You can find me at Ricky Z Social on Twitter and at Ricky Z_social on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can find me at jessagarrett.com or Jessa Lynn Pease Garrett on Facebook.
You can find me at Chris of Steel. Hey, it just came up there. At Chris of Steel on Instagram or on Facebook at Buns of Steel. That's my.
Oh, that's really. You can find me at Dury A. Oh no, that's wrong. Let me fix it. It's Dury with a yay. That's what
Dury with a yay.
So let me fix it. Damn. You can find me on Instagram at Dury with a yay. And on Facebook, if you type in Dury, I'm the only one.
And make sure you follow our parent company at Woe Nelly Media.
Woe Nelly Media. You can find if you search, but the Woe is spelled WOE, not WHOS or whatever. The other is Woe. Like
yeah.
WoeNellyMedia.com, Woe Nelly Media on Facebook, Twitter. Twitter, it's at Media Woe. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Can I do it this time, Julian?
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah.